Welcome to Cheatlogue, the place where every story uncovers the fragile layers of trust, betrayal, and the hidden corners of love. Here, we dive into real heartbreak, unexpected twists, and emotional paths that will hold you captive until the very end. Subscribe if you dare, to see the truth beneath the masks people wear. I never believed a few careless words could destroy everything I held dear. But that evening, beneath the glittering chandeliers of the Whitmore estate, I learned that some jokes should never be spoken aloud. We had been invited to a colleague's gala, a celebration of success wrapped in high society charm. I had spent hours preparing, slipping into a deep emerald gown that embraced my curves just right, and shaping my hair until it fell in soft waves across my shoulders. My husband of 7 years, David, looked striking in his charcoal suit. I had always admired his calm strength, the way he could command respect without raising his voice. But that night, I didn't see the room through his steady gaze. I saw it through mine, hungry for laughter, attention, and a spark of mischief. It started lightly enough. A circle of colleagues gathered near the champagne fountain, their laughter fizzing louder than the bubbles in their glasses. I leaned closer, feeling bold, and teased with a whisper about David's salary. "Oh, and how much does David make?" I gasped playfully. "I hope he spoils me at least once in a while." The words lingered longer than I expected. Some laughed, some gave uneasy smiles, and then came the silence, the kind that twists in your stomach. David's jaw tightened, his eyes flashing with something new. Not embarrassment. Not anger. But hurt, deep and cutting. "I was joking," I said too quickly, forcing a laugh louder than I meant. "Just a little fun." But David said nothing. He turned sharply, disappearing into the crowd with a stride that felt deliberate. The rest of the night blurred. I tried to find him, to apologize, to catch his eyes, but it was as though he had vanished. With one careless comment, I had built a wall between us I could not climb. When we got home, the air was heavy, colder than usual. I poured wine for both of us, hoping it might soften the distance, but he didn't touch it. "David," I whispered, my voice trembling. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." He shook his head, cutting me off. "I can't do this, Claire. Not anymore." I laughed nervously, the sound hollow. "Do what?" "It was only a joke." He set his glass down with sharp finality. "It wasn't funny to me." Something in his expression told me this was deeper than one careless comment. I reached for him, fingers brushing his arm. He pulled away. "I think we need time apart," he said quietly, as if to himself. "I need to figure out what respect means in a marriage. Because right now, I don't feel it." My chest froze. Time apart. In the same bedroom where we had built 7 years of love, I felt the floor drop beneath me. The days that followed were unbearable. He didn't call. He didn't answer my messages. I sent texts full of apologies, promises that I would never joke like that again. Nothing changed. A week later, he returned, not with rage, but with silence so heavy it suffocated. He carried a folder. My heart sank. "Claire," he said flatly, "I've made a decision. I'm leaving." I laughed nervously, thinking it had to be a cruel trick. "Leaving for what?" "You're angry, I know, but," he shook his head. "This isn't only anger. It's disappointment. It's betrayal. You humiliated me in front of people who should respect me. And you didn't even notice. I thought we were partners. But you care more about appearances than the man I am." Tears blurred my sight. "David, please. I didn't mean to hurt you. I love you, you know that." He looked at me, and in his eyes I saw our entire history, love, trust, intimacy, turning into dust. "Claire," he said softly, "I think this marriage was never what you truly wanted. You wanted admiration, not me. And now I see it clearly." He left that night. The sound of the door closing was final, unforgettable. I replayed the party endlessly in my head. Was it really just a joke, or had it revealed something darker I refused to face? The weeks dragged on. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I wandered through our house like a ghost, haunted by his absence. Friends called, but I lied, saying he was traveling for work. They heard the strain anyway. Guilt weighed down on me, crushing every piece of confidence I had. Then one evening, I found his letter in our drawer. My hands shook as I opened it. "Claire, this isn't easy. I've loved you with all I had, and losing you feels like losing myself. But love isn't enough without respect. You humiliated me, not only with your words, but with your disregard for my feelings. I can't live in a marriage where I feel small, where my worth is a joke. I hope someday you understand. I hope we both heal. David. I sobbed until my body shook, until there were no tears left, only emptiness. That letter made me face the truth. My thoughtless words had uncovered a fracture in our marriage I had refused to see. Months slipped by. David never returned. Rumors whispered of his new life in the city, of happiness that no longer belonged to me. I tried to move on, but everywhere I looked, I saw him, in the empty chair at dinner, in the scent of cologne left in our closet, in the silence of mornings without him. I wanted to write him. To beg. To explain that my words were careless, but my love was real. But I didn't. Because I had finally learned, sometimes love isn't about holding on. Sometimes love is about letting go, even when it tears you apart. Almost a year later, I saw him again, in a bookstore. I froze. He stood there, calm, browsing the shelves. He looked different, stronger somehow, but still him. When our eyes met, time seemed to pause. I longed to beg, to tell him I had changed. But no words came. I didn't expect to see you, he said softly. David, I whispered. He gave a faint, sad smile. You look well. You too, I managed. We stood there, silence stretching like an ocean. And in that silence, I realized our love had not died. It had transformed, into memory, lesson, and sorrow. I'm happy now, he said at last, closing his book. I've built a life I'm proud of. I hope you find that too. My throat tightened. No words came. He gave me one last look, kind, but final, and walked away. I watched him leave, my heart breaking and healing at once. He was gone for good, and he deserved the peace he had found. That night, I sat in the empty apartment and cried. For the man I loved. For the marriage I destroyed. For the joke that cost me everything. But through the tears, I found clarity. Respect is the root of love. And once it's broken, no apology can fix it. David left forever. And in losing him, I learned the real cost of thoughtlessness, and the unbearable weight of betrayal, even when it hides behind laughter. Thank you for joining tonight's story. If you felt the heartbreak, tension, or suspense, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Here at Cheatlogue, every story will leave you questioning what you thought you knew about love and betrayal. And remember, sometimes the darkest truths are closer than you think.